Hello, I thought time for another video. This is more a sort of prelude to going over the question of why there are four main blood types for what is humanity. But before we get to that, just explain my situation. I'm still in what I could say is this intermediate period, just awaiting a new bank card. I've opened a new online bank account so I can start making some progress. Now I've got a GoFundMe account. You can see the link in the description. Now, as I said on the previous video, the money raised in there I would ideally like to spend on giving these buildings a sort of makeover, making them look more presentable. And while I'm sort of waiting for things to sort of happen, I'm still carrying on with the ballasting, using up the exposed stones, co-creating rather than just sitting around in doubt or worry and whatever. But I would like to offer, as a reminder, there is the personal one-to-one tarot card readings, which will help put food on the table for myself. As things stand, I have something in the region of about €20 left. So I may have to dip into the GoFundMe funds that have been raised just to put food on the table for myself and the cats. So I welcome donations, but I would much rather be able to give you something back in the form of a tarot card reading or sharing things with you. It is now starting to warm up here. Don't be deceived by the picture, because yes, it's blue skies and sunshine, but we're in the sort of, can't believe we got to the end of November already. So with the clear skies, the night times are very cold. It's like a total sort of contrast being shown. So let's get on to the main topic of this video, and that is to give you my perception and why I say that the Genesis story is playing out today, but certain things in that story have been flipped over. It is a prelude to when I start talking about blood groups and things and new information that has come to light. So if we go back to Genesis, you've got four main characters. You've got this God, you've got Adam, you've got Eve, and you've got the serpent in the garden. Now in that story, if you look in Genesis chapter 1, you'll see it says Adam, male and female, created them. It's not actually talking about a single individual. They are survivors of a reset. Now, if you want to know more of about that, I suggest you listen to the videos from Archaix, where Jason has just basically put together what many names from the past, Pliny the Elder, Thales, and I forget the other names, and more biblical, more sort of recent biblical scholars as well have all basically said the same thing. So if we run with the concept that God is all loving, all knowing, and omnipresent, what you find in the Garden of Eden is this God who said, do not eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil or you will die. So there's a threat there. After the event, this God appears and then says, where are you? So how knowing and all-seeing is this God? It doesn't seem to be the same one. And that God makes itself very much known to Adam and Eve because they hide in fear. You can interpret that as their eyes have been opened and they've actually seen their shadow self. what Rudolf Steiner would say, we have a Christ impulse, which is the sort of positive or the good side. And we also have this Luciferic side, which represents the darker and the negative impulse that are both put into us. Neville Goddard will tell you that it is a story that is played out every day. And certainly this Garden of Eden story is being played out today. So you've got this God who basically commands, do not eat from this tree. Therefore, they won't progress. They'll basically be automatons within this garden. And it's funny how when they leave the garden, there's all these other people which are also survivors of a cataclysm. Now, I should have really had a Bible in front of me, but I'm just doing this off the top of my head. So we come to the character Adam, who represents man. And then from Adam comes Eve in that story. It is Eve that is, the expression is beguiled by the serpent who says, surely you will not die. Now, did that serpent lie or did it tell the truth? Again, the serpent is not a singular figure, but it is a group of people. It is a benevolent factor that does not hold with these other gods. And it makes it clear after this eating of this fruit of this tree of knowledge of good and evil, are they to be like us? Not are they to be like one singular, me, but are they to be like us? So that implies there are more than one anyway. And of course, where it says about man will have the authority or dominion over woman has been taken and literalized, so women are seen as lesser. So Eve listened to the serpent, and you can also perhaps see that Eve represents the intuition in the subconscious, the internal knowing that, no, we're not going to die. But it does beg the question of why, after eating from this knowledge of fruit from the tree of good and evil, which incidentally, you'll notice the tree of evil is there before Adam and Eve. So the good and the evil predate the Adam and the Eve. Excuse me. So you've got this mindset, particularly in religions, that women are lesser than men, pitting one against the other. Then you have the serpent, who represents the serpent people, the dragons that actually are benevolent, that see that humanity is caught in a crossfire and is actually helping them. Because I would imagine in that story that the serpent is saying, eat from this tree of knowledge of good and evil, which would then automatically lead to eating from the fruit from the tree of life, but they don't. They are so terrified by this God or their shadow side. But how does this play out today? Well, the God in that garden does not appear today in a sort of easily recognizable form. It hides very much in the background. So the script has been flipped slightly there. The Adam represents man, which is humanity, basically. Eve, you could say, represents, in this play out of things in the modern day, Eve represents either the controllers or those that are listening to the scripts that are being shown to you everywhere externally of yourself, be it media stories, conspiracy theories, whatever, because they all come with an invitation to pick a side of seeing something as good or seeing something as evil. Then you have the serpent, the one that didn't lie. Now, this very much ties in with 2020, where those that are not of the Adam but have found inside themselves that they are part of the Serpent people, who are saying, don't take this thing that's been offered in 2020 because surely you will die. And that story seems to be playing out exactly the same way, that the serpent was telling the truth, whereas this God of the Old Testament is now doing the opposite. I would imagine that by eating from this tree of knowledge and having a perception of good and evil actually created problems for this God, that it had to then come up with maybe an AI system to then take every possible story and then work it to its advantage. So the Eve of today, you could say, is the evil, or what is perceived as the evil, the controllers who are listening to that God and obeying those commands, and then telling Adam, i.e. humanity, that you should take this fruit from this tree of knowledge of good and evil, i.e. the synthetic, the pharmaceutical, and how that played out, the eating being delivered by a needle. So the way I see it, we're very much still in this Garden of Eden. It's you can go with staying in that garden and being controlled. You can listen to the Eve. You can listen, which is is being beguiled by this God in this Old Testament, which I would say is Yahweh. Or you can listen to the serpent people who go their own way. They are the errants of today. So what are we up to here? 12 minutes. So hopefully that has given you a new perception, and also shows how those 66 books of the Bible that we're given today, it's still playing out. I said on video a long time ago, several years ago, I think it was prior to 2020, that if you see what is happening and you have that sense that there is a certain sort of urgency about it, what I actually said was, think of it like a travelling carnival or a travelling circus, a carnival of carnivores, who are going to give you the grand finale, the big show, but at the same time they are also going to give you every conceivable sideshow at once. If you see God in terms of being like a physical body, what does a physical body do? It sheds dead cells. And there are plenty of dead cells that are shedding and being shed in this reality, that are still eating from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, picking aside in these media scripts, in these conspiracy theories, and with the best intentions, most of the time trying to help others see things are different, are not the way we've been told. They are very different. But of course, there are those that are not going to accept anything because it will disrupt their internal world, so they will stay blind to it. They will put up a defense against it rather than actually looking into it. But it's no good just being an Adam. It does require seeing that shadow, that Yahweh that's inside each and every one of us, facing it head on, and then transmuting that, which has been flipped into a transgender agenda. But when it's all an internal job, the Luciferian or the Luciferic principle, that the impulse that is inside us can actually become something that helps. It's not about killing the ego. It is about bringing the ego under control. So it actually helps drive you, helps you find that you are actually one of the Serpent people that are going their own way. They're not picking a side. They can see that there is so much BS with everything, because within that human body, if we want to see everything external of us as that, everything you can probably think of, every organization, anything government approved, anything like a science, a religion, they are all like a type 4 cancer. They are infested with things that muddy the waters, that are trying to keep you in that loop, keep you in that garden where you won't progress. So find that serpent inside yourself. It is your own intuition that is trying to guide you. If we go with the New Testament, where this Jesus character says, be gentle as a dove, but wise as serpents. It's learning that internal language of listening to intuition, of having empathy, of having humor. All these things in the mix, the discernment and the trust in that inner knowing in oneself that surely you will not die if you go your own way and you don't fall for all these scripts. So yes, the Garden of Eden story is very much still playing out and is relevant today. Time is cyclical, and you'll find whatever story you look at in the present day 66 book Bible, you'll find that they are all aspects of yourself that is playing out, but in a modern day setting. So with that, I'm going to say unconditional love to you all, and a reminder to check out the links in the description. If I can help you in any way, if I can give a perception on something that may help change your perception so you're no longer seeing things in a negative way, but seeing things in a more positive way, able to embrace the discomfort, knowing with the certainty that that will pass, then do please come and talk to me. I'd love to be able to help pull you through this and give you a better experience of this life than you may presently be feeling inside.